answer is yes and no. In the past, we used to fly the planes a lot, but now, today, commercial airliners and corporate jets are very well automated for safety purposes.
Yes. I mean, can you imagine Mike flying a plane? Oh, my God.
I can't imagine Mike driving a plane or flying a plane.
I can't imagine you driving a car.
Shut up.
Jeff, tell us about, I know you do emergency room preparedness for doctors. I mean, I read your credentials, and it's like, it reads like a dictionary of all these certifications you have. What specifically do you do? Or tell us some fascinating stories, or let's talk about Mike and his pee-pee problem. Whatever
my erectile dysfunction.
Whatever you want to talk about, let's do this.
Well, I don't have any intimate details about Mike's problem, but I do know that in general, as we do, or at least some of us do, have problems in that area in terms of erectile dysfunction, and a lot of it's related to disease processes that we get, such as diabetes and other neurological problems that affect the nervous system, and sometimes it's due to medications that we take for other problems that aren't related to the genitourinary system. But either way, there are things that can be done to improve that certainly affects our ability to perform and our self-esteem with our partners.
Well, you know, our demographics show that we have a large amount of male listeners, and they're all within our age limit. I mean, our age, 55 and above, a huge majority of them. But we do have female listeners, so this kind of goes both ways. I mean, it helps the female too. I don't even know how to say it without saying an impure word. Jeff, tell us what can a guy do that has? I mean, I'm not saying I have this issue.
Mike and PJ, this reminds me of a class that I took in college, human sexuality, in which we were discussing sexually transmitted diseases, and one of the students in this large auditorium raised his hand and, of course, said, "Yo, I got this friend who's got this problem." We knew exactly what he was meaning, so you guys are not off the hook.
Oh, gosh.
Jeff, we can cut you at any time if we want. You know.
Hey, Jeff, I was watching this movie called Food Incorporated. No, I'm sorry, it was Forks Over Knives, and they were saying that one of the causes of erectile dysfunction is actually erectile dysfunction can be a kind of a canary in the coal mine with respect to artery disease, like clogged arteries. Like shows up in the genitalia before it does the larger vessels in the heart. And would you say that's true? Like a high fat diet would show up first there, and then maybe be a precursor or an indication of heart disease?
That's true, Mike, and it's not just true in that area. It's true primarily in the smaller vessels throughout the body. For example, in the feet as well, particularly in those who have diabetes and peripheral vascular disease, which basically means that the smaller vessels first, and then usually the larger vessels, get clogged up through a process known as atherosclerosis, which basically is a buildup of plaque, which leads to narrowing of those vessels. So it can affect any vessel in the body, but you're right, it starts in smaller vessels, and what we can do as patients is obviously modify our diet and see our physicians to get on the appropriate medicines to take care of that problem. But you are absolutely correct in how it develops.
Well, you know, that's fascinating, because I remember in college I had to take a couple medical courses, because I have a PhD in mechanical engineering, but they forced me to take like anatomy and physiology and certain science classes to get my doctorate. So I remember triglycerides being a big subject on ED, where if you had high triglycerides and a lower blockage in your arteries, lower cholesterol and higher triglycerides, it can also give you erectile dysfunction. And so I always, when I go to the doctor, I make sure they run my triglycerides. Now, being from New Orleans, we eat a lot of shellfish, and it always increases the cholesterol in our, because we eat so much of shrimp and crab and shellfish. So my cholesterol is always up, but they always attribute it to because of the region we're in. Do you find that different regions have, and is that a true fact, that triglycerides affecting narrowing of vessels, does that too correlate where high triglycerides in erectile dysfunction, or is it cholesterol and narrowing of vessels?
As far as high cholesterol goes, and eating a lot of shellfish or eggs, for example, the yolks of eggs, it used to be thought that you should not eat those, but in reality there are multiple types of cholesterol with multiple sizes, and some of the cholesterol is quote-unquote good, some of the cholesterol is bad, and we need cholesterol to live in, so just because you have a high cholesterol in and of itself isn't necessarily bad. It's the subcomponents of the cholesterol level that really determine whether or not you're at greater risk for atherosclerotic disease or clogging of the arteries, as to whether it affects your blood vessels in your feet or in your organs such as your heart or your kidneys or in your brain. It depends upon a combination of both, and it's not just related to the region. It's probably more related to your own personal metabolism and genetics.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay.
The answer is you can't have any more shrimp. So you going to stay in New Orleans?
Oh, man, I guess I'm going to move.
That is bad news. That is bad news. So, Jeff, what can we leave our listeners with respect? We've shared some really great information, but in the event that somebody's dealing with this particular issue, and as a man, that would be a big deal, right, for any of us that would happen to have it. What are the steps to take?
Well, first, if you think you've got the problem, always remember that it's important to try to attack the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptom. So, for example, there are a variety of medications that you can either obtain online or you can obtain without a prescription or with a prescription. And I think we're all aware what they are, but simply treating the symptom without attacking the problem isn't the way to go. The best thing to do, first of all, is to have an honest conversation and evaluation with and an evaluation by a competent physician to determine if there's a problem that can be treated, manage that problem, and utilize medications or other modalities to improve your performance as necessary. But again, not treating the underlying problem is the issue. So treating the underlying problem in and of itself may improve things, and the adjunctive therapy, for example, with medications, and there's 3 primary prescription medications we're all aware of, that can help, but it's most important thing is to get a proper evaluation, understand what may be going on. In fact, you might find that you have a problem that is treatable through diet, through exercise, through losing weight, or sometimes through medications, and that in and of itself may help you.
That's great advice, Jeff.
That is great. That is great advice. Well, folks, you've been listening to Out and About in L.A. with Dr. Jeff Slepin. Jeff, thanks for coming on the show. Well, Mike, this was a fantastic show. I really appreciate all our guests that came on today, Tom Gentile and Dr. Jeff. I know you have some exciting stuff that's going on for the next couple weeks. You want to share that with us? And how?
I would love to share that. I'd also want to just echo your sentiments. This has been a lot of fun. It's passed so quickly, you know. You can always tell you're doing something you love when the time passed so quickly. So next week we're going to give away some tickets, and we want to encourage all of you to participate on our Facebook page, outandabout.la. That's out space and space about.la. We want to have you ask questions there. You can click the events tab, see all the events that are going on in LA. We see this as the place to come for you to really see what's happening in LA, and we're looking forward to getting to know you guys and being part of the community. And we really want to encourage you to hop in there and join us in the discussion, ask questions. We're going to ask you to post pictures, maybe jokes, whatever. But it's going to be fun, PJ. I'm really excited about our show.
I think so too. And truly, ask Mike any personal questions you have. He'll pretty much answer anything. Now, I won't personally answer questions that just ask Mike. Mike will answer anything.
Yeah, I'll share anything as we did with Dr. Jeff, right? That's
right.
And I just want to be clear at the end of the show that is not a problem that I am dealing with.
Which one?
PJ.
The rash? Or
Neither of them.
Much love, Mikey. Much love.
Yes, indeed. Once again, you can get us on our Facebook page at out space and space about.la. see the events, click the events tab. If you want to ask us a question, you can interface with us there using the message feature. You can click the like button and then post a message and we'll respond ASAP.
All right. I just wanted to personally thank our sound engineer, Natasha, our big board engineer, Scott, and our social media director, Faye, for a great job, and of course, my wonderful co-host, Mike Wade, and all the account executives with Out and About in LA and Out and About Productions here on KEIB and iHeartRadio. Have a great weekend, folks.
Out and About Productions, LA, copyright 2017.